Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions Publishing, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. You guys, wait until you have a little peek at this book, The Alchemy of Intuition, Embodied Practices to Access Your Inner Voice. So I'm going to introduce our authors to you today, but I do have a rather large shout out to our lead author, Dr. Tiffany McBride. Tiffany did this beautiful cover art, you guys. And a shout out to Kelly Kashula, who helped us with our interior design. And man, it takes a village for these books, for real. But Tiffany, I am so grateful and honored to be here with you creating this amazing book. You had a really big vision and mission. And I remember when we chatted about this and we were dreaming it up and you told me about the topic. And this was one of those topics, you guys, this is foundational, this connection, embodied practices, this awareness. Awareness is everything. And so I got so excited when she started to talk about the topic. And here we are after an incredible journey that she took many of us on to Ireland. We did a lot of really amazing things led by Tiffany to help us with that connection. And so this has been already so much more than a book, and we thank you, Tiffany. So I have some pretty cool authors in my Zoom room today. Beth Wilson is an energy healer, psychic medium, and biomagnetism practitioner who combines her talents for guidance and healing in her international practice, living in Northern California. That's where I grew up too. Dustin Graham is here. He's a men's coach focused on clarity, presence, and direction. And Rachel Kaufman is with us. She's the founder of Integrated Healing Vibes, offering individual healing bodywork and life coaching sessions, as well as group classes and retreats. Okay, I am excited to start this conversation. Beth, you're going to start the party off. Tell us a little about the why behind the chapter that you wrote.
Well, thank you, Laura. Good to be here. And yeah, I love this topic because with complex chronic illness, a lot of people don't think there's a way out. And it is a very dark place to be in. And I had Lyme disease for 10 years, and I couldn't have found my way out without my intuition guiding me. And so I really wrote this chapter because number one, I want people to know there is a way out. Number two, I want them to know that their intuition and trusting their intuition, because when you have complex chronic illness, your intuition really gets thrown off. You experience states like depersonalization or disassociation, and it's hard to keep your center and your core. So I wanted to encourage people to find a practitioner who can align with that powerful state of intuition with you and guide you along through that journey and out back to reclaim your life. And beyond that, I think my message has a lot to do with really embracing intuition. I grew up with all these gifts and I thought they were normal until I was 14 years old. And some of my friends, we had a Jewish friend from Israel, we had some Catholic Italians, we had white Protestants, we had a group of us all together in the neighborhood talking about angels. And I turned around and said something like, "Oh, yes, I know when they tell you you have to do this and you have to be in service in this way, that can really interfere with my teenage life." And everybody's head swung around at the exact same moment, which pierced my consciousness to think, oh my goodness, they're not having the same experience in life that I'm having, because I thought it was normal. And so part of my mission is to really normalize the intuition again, because personally, I think it's one of the most powerful guidance tools that we have, especially when it's in alignment with, if you want to call it God, spirit, the divine, your higher self. And it is those things that can lead people out of chronic illness into a powerful place, perhaps even more powerful than when they became ill. And so that's part of my mission.
I love the mission. Thank you for kicking that off so amazingly well. I really think, you know, one of the biggest things, I really think this is the biggest thing to almost everything we dream of, is to get that connection back. I have one quick, I don't know if it's a question or I just want you to comment. Like, we'll rewind to what you said about chronic pain. So you're in a state that you might have some complex or chronic kinds of things going on, and that alone can muddy your connection. What do you want to tell people about that?
Well, first of all, I want to let people know when you're in the throes of complex chronic illness, you're allowed to have all kinds of emotions. And oftentimes when we think of praying or meditating or connecting, it's very zen. It's very mellow. And when you're in complex chronic illness, I found that it's really okay to have some angry prayers with the powers that be. If you want to grab your steering wheel and say, I'm out of here unless you make these changes, or I need some help and I mean it, those are great things for people to know, because it isn't just about being this perfect spiritual human being. It's also about telling the powers that be, I'm not kidding. I'm ready for change. Because what I found with complex chronic illness is there are so many levels going on. There's the physical level, but there's also the spiritual level going on. And so if people can take advantage of that spiritual part of it and participate and not have to look terribly graceful every time they participate, to me, that lights up the intuition. And the intuition is like a muscle that's going, we've been waiting for you. And now that you're exercising us, we're on board. Keep exercising, and we will give you stronger and stronger messages that can cut through this kind of, as you said, muddied waters.
Beth, thank you so much for saying yes to be a part of this project, and just for being here today to share. We're going to hear more from you in a minute or two. So, Dustin, I'm going to move over to you and ask you about your why.
Well, there's many men on the path that I'm on, and I figured it would be beneficial for them to see this bit of my journey back to joy and clarity and direction.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so talk to me about the man thing. Like, I mean, I know I'm joking, but sometimes it's a little harder to grab the hands of my male friends and say, hey, come on, you'll be okay. Like, come and do a little bit of this kind of work. What's your message to them?
There's a way out if you're struggling, if your lens is foggy, and finding your joy is the center of it. Through that, you know, you achieve peace and clarity. And for me personally, passion. And that passion was working with men, holding the light for them in the hands of them while they struggle on the path.
Do you remember the beginning pieces when you were just figuring this out? What was the little stepping stone where you moved towards joy? What was that personal experience like?
I was kind of spiraling. I was on Mount Rainier and I had put away all my practices, all my, breath work, all these things. I'd set them down. And like I said, I was spiraling. I was in a dark place and I kind of sat up and Dustin, you have all the tools you need to transmute this, pick something, do it. And I did it and it was great. And I came outside and the northern lights were in the sky in the Pacific Northwest during a cloudy time of year. So it was like this gift, a pat on the back, good job. And from there, it was like a slingshot.
Nature like that is often a huge sign for me.
Hmm.
And wow, I mean, you're giving me the visual. I've never seen the Northern Lights, but it's hard for me to imagine that had to be an awe-filled moment for you.
It was actually one of my original bucket list items. I was not there for that. It just happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Amazing. All right. So, dark, a lot of people say dark night of the soul, but you're spiraling. Those are your words. And it sounds like you were able to connect to I have what I need versus going outside of yourself. You want to comment on that for a minute?
I mean, we all have the knowing inside. It's just a matter of tapping into it. And that's kind of the centerpiece of my work with men is I'm not guiding them anywhere. I'm just holding the flashlight. They're leading the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a mark of a master leader, honestly. Great leaders create great leaders. And I think just a kind of backing up to the shout out back to Tiffany, she was one of those people on our journey who did what you're talking about. She was nudging us to go back to what we needed to explore to find the answers. And that's a gift when somebody does that for you.
Hmm.
Dustin, thank you for saying yes and being a part of this, for being here today.
It was a pleasure.
So, Rachel, let's hear your why. What's the why behind the chapter that you wrote?
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me. I love listening to Beth and Dustin's stories, and the kind of the segue that Dustin you were mentioning is my quote at the top of the chapter is "It's all in you." And actually, in writing this book, I wanted to kind of guide people along my journey, my story of strengthening my intuition, and then weaving it in with advice on how to trust. My title is about using love and trust to unlock inner wisdom. So it really is all about it's all in you. And what do I do about that? How do I, why and the what? And I didn't even start off writing the chapter with the story in mind, but what it popped up about being in nature and meditating and finding this animal guide telling me it's all in you during a really emotional period in my life. And it was, even when I was writing it unlocked for me. So it was kind of cool to go through that process as I was writing it and just really be a guide for people who, I know when I read books, I like to hear people's stories, stories of the author or someone else. And so I weave those in with my experience and showing that, we all go through these not trusting moments, worrying emotions coming up, and how to really just have fun with it. And because the more you tap into your intuition, like Beth said, like a muscle, it's stronger, you get stronger messages, and it's more technicolor. Life becomes more, more interesting, and it can really help people make the best decisions for themselves. And that's another thread, is just really telling the story about how we can use our intuition to make the best choices for ourselves.
All
So,
right, I have to go back to what you said, or you mentioned briefly animal guides, because I kind of geek out on this topic. Like, I want to know, like, do you remember a moment where you realized that was a guide, like whatever animal that was?
well, my friend who was guiding me, if you read the story, people read the story, and I explained how he was guiding me, and he said, go down this, go down a tree into the roots, and an animal guide will meet you there and give you a message. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so I was already kind of primed to receive a guide. I had no idea what was going to happen. And it was a groundhog that came to me. And this was way before I was getting into really spiritual things. I was 20 years old, 21 years old. And I looked it up right when I was telling the story, actually recently, because I get animal guides all the time coming in for clients. And I was like, whoa. And I looked up what the groundhog is. It really expressed, they bring you these messages of self whatever and self love. And it told me it's all in you. And it was like this circle back moment or whatever that is, where I was like, oh, this totally makes sense, the groundhog.
The groundhog, go figure. It was a
Mhm.
groundhog.
Go
It's
figure.
not very sexy, but I
No,
love all animals.
no, it's not.
I and I pay attention to all of them now. There was hawks and big birds, and I've got my little book that I look up the animals in, but then it just started to get more interesting. So I started to look up inchworm and, just whatever it was. I just love the messages. Anything else you want to say about that?
I mean, I like when I work with clients now for healing work, I get 90% of the time I get animals, insects, all the time. Some people, common ones are like butterflies for transformation. Spiders actually are very, actually a good thing. Usually they're feminine energy. And I have a guide from another, well, starseed will say that's a big spider. So there's connections that, we have these insects and animals come in, I think, as messages for a reason. And I think it's really cool. And I will say, if anyone out there has an animal they keep seeing, like a fox, or I have a client who sees fruit flies are around her all the time, they're bringing messages and they won't leave you alone until you get the message. The universe is shouting at you all the time. So I think it's fun, and just to kind of see what pops up, and you'll be surprised.
Oh my gosh, yes, it is so much fun, and you will be surprised. Rachel, thank you. Thank you for saying yes to this project. Thanks for being here today to share. For all three of you, a huge thank you. You are all master teachers, and you're helping people with your medicine every day, your coaching, the different ways that you help people. But it's a whole other thing when I ask people to get it in black and white in writing in a way that a reader can have a full experience with it. And you all did it so brilliantly, aside from your beautiful stories, which help us get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for taking the challenge on and getting really your love and your mastery into those chapters. You guys, this book is phenomenal. So, Dustin, what do you think has been the most exciting thing about connecting to your intuition? What was one of those golden nugget moments for you?
Finding community in this new town that I moved to. I've been in Sedona for about a year, and in perfect Sedona synchronicity, somebody showed up on my front porch one day to get a stuffed animal from the homeowner, and now I play pickleball every Sunday, and there's big birthday parties everywhere. I have consistent tribe now, and it's just from following my intuition. I have everything that I've ever wanted in life now.
Yeah, that really says it all, doesn't it, you guys? Like when you get really connected like that, that's the outcome. I would agree. And Sedona, one of my favorite places ever. Oh, it's the
It's
best.
paradise. I'm awash in a sea of gratitude every day.
Yeah. Right. We all need to live in a place that makes us feel like that, you guys. So put that on your vision board this new year month, okay? Oh, plus, I'm sorry, I can't forget to mention after we talked about animals, the fire horse, because as soon as somebody said fire horse to me, first of all, I'm like, when did it turn into fire? And it was just not the year of the horse, but there's something about this fire horse energy that is magnificent. Yes, live in a place that makes you feel that just infusion of gratitude every day. I feel like that every day myself. And really, Dustin made me think too that I agree with you, the community aspect of following that intuition, that connection, that might just be the greatest gift of all time. Being in that circle of people that I get to play in the sandbox with every day and
Hmm.
do this life with every day. So thank you for that. So, Rachel, how about you? What's the most exciting thing about connecting to your intuition?
I think besides just really getting excited that there's more than just what we see, the more we practice, the more, when you get a message or you see, or an animal comes in these synchronicities just makes life really exciting. And also it's a great tool to be able to, and I talk about in the chapter, fear versus intuition, and I think and I've worked through that. And I also, I kind of advise people if they ask me, and if they don't ask me, well, they might read it in the book, but fear versus intuition, how do I know that this decision I'm making is based out of fear, or is it intuition? And so getting to a place of calmness and stillness when, fear comes in this, I talk about it comes in this swirl of chaos, and there's usually maybe your heart's racing and you feel really stressed out, versus intuition comes in very gently and pretty strongly if you're open, and you might hear it or see it, literally see a sign on a billboard. And I think that's the amazing part of intuition, is just kind of forcing us in a good way to get grounded, to really, I love that feeling. I love talking about nature, walking in the woods. There's a place I go near my house that has a creek, and there's like sandy areas, and it's winding, and you don't see many people. And I go there when I need to. I think I might have gone there when I was looking for a title for my chapter, and what am I going to write about, and go hug a tree. And I think reminding yourself that connection with nature is when we really need to find answers also, is really exciting, in a calm way.
Mm-hmm. And I like that discernment of the feeling. That's how I know too. It's calm, it's a lean in, it's a relaxed and exciting, both. you know, it's
Yeah.
like I call it, it's either a hell yes or a no. And the yes is always more grounded, more calm, more sturdy, more strong, more warm. There's just, yeah,
It
love
just
that.
feels good. It feels good to be in that. Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Okay, Beth, your turn. What's been the most exciting thing about connecting to your intuition? Oh, you're muted, my dear. Let's get you unmuted.
Okay, I'd have to say it's three things, and connection, adventure, and humor. And because intuition, I do often say, welcome to my life, because the things that happen to me are so outrageous, but when they happen, the truth of them is so undeniable and so profound. And whether it's guidance, sometimes I receive guidance and I have that moment of going, you've got to be kidding me. Like that was not on the plan. That was not. And I love that about intuition, because intuition doesn't care about your plan. Not if you're connected to it in terms of your highest benefit, right? Like, is it in my highest good? That's often my question to intuition. Are you in my highest good? And if you play on that playing field, so to speak, then you'll be out with nature and whales will come up to you and bring their calf to you, or put your little boat on the back of their back and lift you out of the water. And because you're communing with them through intuition, you're safe. So I'm the one on the boat clapping, everybody else is terrified gripping the rails, right? But to me, that's intuition. You get these amazing things, outrageous things that happen to you, and also it parts the darkness. When I'm in a spiral, as Dustin said, or feeling, confused about which direction to go, intuition just breaks things open and shows much more clarity if I have the courage to follow it.
I love that. And I also love that you have now added something to my bucket list of experiences with a whale. Oh my gosh. That is
Go
the
to
ultimate.
Baja. Go to Baja and
Okay.
yeah, the Baja Peninsula. Yep.
All right. We'll put Baja on that list. So I think one of the most spectacular things about this book is the medicine that you put in it. You're helping our readers with a practical experience, and y'all have been around a minute. You have a lot of magical kinds of tools and strategies and practices that you use to connect, and you're walking our readers through. And thank you again for doing that. And I want you to give you all a chance to talk about that a little bit more. Rachel, what's the most important thing you want everyone to know about using love and trust to unlock inner wisdom?
Um, the medicine in my chapter is how to use a pendulum. And for me, I was going to this, we called it the Sixth Sensory Play Group many years ago with a nice community and with friends and new friends. And we were trying different things, learning Qigong, learning pendulums, reading each other. And it was my journey to strengthen my intuition intentionally. And the pendulum, when we started to use it, it wasn't working for me. It just kind of dangled. And I was like, this is, and people can read in the chapter, but I could not unlock it. And then this woman who was guiding me said, why don't you think about love, like someone you love? And so I've always had that story in my head. And when I, decided to join this amazing book and this community, I was like, oh, there's something around this that I need to say, because what love is really the ultimate goal. It's the opposite of fear and all those negative things. And so it's really just, how do I use, what can love do? Of course, everyone knows love is good. In this case, I thought of, my husband at the time we were dating, and my pendulum started to.
Uh-oh, did we lose her?
Sorry, it froze for a second.
You froze a little. You thought of your husband that you were dating at the time, and your pendulum did what?
Thank you. And then it worked.
Okay.
It started to. I have high speed. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so it started to work. It hasn't stopped working. It works now. And I've used it in many different ways over the years. And so in my medicine, I talk about how to, ways people can access using it if they want to for good decision making. It's, about intuition, sync, just that love, and of course trust. And someone else, I think all of you mentioned trust. So I think it's just nice to use those emotions slash sensations, feelings to help with something practical,
Yes, we can get it practical. We can get it actually way more successful for most people if we can get it just real world practical. Pendulum, you guys, is an interesting thing, right? If you've never tried it, it's really interesting. There's so many fun things to try.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Beth, I'm going to move to you. What's the most important thing you want us to know about getting beyond chronic illness?
Well, I think number one, it's to really, as discombobulated as you might feel and desperate. Desperation is a hard place to be because it's easy to grasp and grasp outside yourself. And so I really want to encourage people to continue to trust themselves and to find a practitioner where it's safe for you to be in touch with your body and help and work with them rather than going to someone to get saved or to get fixed. Because I think chronic illness can really bring people to a place of such desperation that they can abandon what they already know of their own intuition, of their own judgment, of what is right for them personally. And in that chapter, I really wanted to encourage people to get back to a place of trusting themselves, even if it feels like it's inconsistent. And I put forward, similar to what Rachel was talking about with her pendulum, I like to help people just in my classes to use their body as a pendulum and to learn what that feels like in their body and to have fun with it so that they can use their body to get a yes or no, not usually with questions like, can I win the lottery? Sometimes people come up with that one and you're like, yeah, not so good there. But the yeses and nos about, is this in my highest good? Is this treatment in my highest good? Is this the practitioner I can trust and I need to be around? So to bring that power back to themselves, even if they're in a place of desperation and fear, pain, and suffering, because that can help break through. And if they have a loving practitioner who can hold that space, I find people get better so much more quickly.
Thank you, Beth. Dustin, tell us the most important thing you want us to know about recovering our joy.
It's how you're going to know yourself, your true self, stripped away of conditioning and all that. Finding joy, joy that is yours, that doesn't require anything from anybody else, not permission, not participation. That becomes an anchor moving forward in your life. You can always come back to it. People come and go, things come and go. That joy will always be there. And it doesn't have to be an enormous, profound thing. It can be having the sun on your skin for 5 minutes, smelling a flower, touching moss.
The flowers are one of my things, the big birds and the flowers. Dustin, thank you for that. That's a really nice way to close out on that feeling, you guys. To all of you, Beth, Dustin, Rachel, thank you so much for what you do in the world. And thank you for being here today to share it with everybody. This is way more than a book, you guys. This is a really generous community. And I have our authors today all hooked up down below with their websites and links. They're there to answer a question, to help you on the next step of your journey. Go explore what they are up to. It is a lot of awesomeness. We also hope you hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of this beautiful book, The Alchemy of Intuition. I've got the link down below for that as well. And lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.